So, yeah, I guess first and foremost, how have you been getting through the pandemic, and how have you acquired a new skill, or has anything helped you to get through?
Um, well, yeah, I mean, I've been continuing to work at my job as a book buyer, so that's been having that to go to has been kind of a nice distraction, shall we say?
Sure.
Um, and Otherwise, a lot of reading
Yeah.
and playing music, and I think probably the best thing to come out of all this has been that we've been doing a weekly Zoom meeting with family members. And most of my family grew up in the same small town in Western Pennsylvania. And now we're all scattered across the country. And we just don't get to see each other very much anymore. So back in the beginning, when we decided that we wanted to have a check in and just see how everybody was doing, it seemed like a kind of emergency situation, but it's evolved into just being a nice weekly gathering where we talk about all kinds of things. And it's been really fun in this way, getting to know family members again who I've lost touch with to a certain extent over the
That
years.
is really nice. That's
Yeah.
great. What drove you to choose the material that you did to perform for this particular project?
Well, I did two songs, and one of them just felt was kind of prompted actually by this project and thinking about what I wanted to say. Um, the first song that I did is called "The Raven Man," and it is a song that I had written that week, thinking about something to do for this project. Song is subtitled Journal of the Plague Year, and it's very much inspired by Maggie O'Farrell's brilliant novel Hamnet, which is probably one of the best things I've read this year. And Hamnet concerns the domestic life of Shakespeare,
Mm.
and in particular the death in 1596 of his son Hamnet, who in her afterword, O'Farrell writes that we don't really know how Hamnet died, why he died, but she has taken the liberty of imagining that he died from the plague. In fact, the book is subtitled A Novel of the Plague. And it's a really powerful and moving story, and her descriptions of the effects of the plague are just heart-wrenching. And I wanted to write something from the point of view of the doctor who would be called in to try to deal with these people, knowing that they were hopeless cases and who may have suffered a loss in his family himself, but still has to go out and take care of his community. And so that's kind of what the lyrical content is in that song. And then the music is very much inspired by Richard Thompson, who continues to inspire me. I've been a fan for a long time, and it's a pretty blatant homage to his musical sensibilities. Yeah. And then I did another one that I had written in the beginning of the year called "The Trouble with Time," and that's more sort of a blues song, still having to do with mortality, which I guess has been kind of on my mind this year, but in an ironic kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
So that's that's what I chose to perform, and it's why I chose to do a couple of songs on guitar. I think it really speaks to um, what I want to be doing at this stage in my life.
Sure. And two original pieces. That's great.
Yeah, yeah, it's been a productive year like that.
Yeah.
Good.
I know to challenge us as artists to kind of find ways to, you know, find the new work within ourselves, if where you find the motivation and can keep you busy. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, definitely.
So how did it feel to actually now had before doing this project, um, were you working on something else before the shutdown artistically in another theater or?
Um, Not really, no. I mean, I was I was actually out of the country when the when we started off with this project, and or we, when, God, I can't talk today. When the whole COVID thing began, and I was I was doing a lot of performing there. So in fact, I was working on a project that was going to go up in about a week, and uh, within it all happened within a space of a week, from March 13th to March 20th. That suddenly it seemed like March 13th we got up and said we're just going to go ahead and go about our normal day. And as the day went on, it became increasingly clear that we couldn't go about things normally anymore. And by the end of that weekend, everything in the city that I was in had completely shut down. All events had been canceled. All performance spaces had been closed. And I had about 5 gigs lined up for the rest of that month. And it became very clear that if we wanted to get home, we needed to leave right then. So,
Wow.
yeah.
So how did it feel to be back on the Cape Rep stage to do this performance?
Well, kind of surreal, actually, as so many things have been during these past many months. Returning to familiar places feels both comforting and slightly threatening.
Yeah.
And you see things with new eyes, kind of like going back to a place you knew in childhood, to find that nothing has changed, but everything feels different anyway because you've changed so much.
Right.
So, and performing was interesting. As I ran through the song the first time, my hands were shaking so badly I could barely play. But as soon as the camera started rolling, something kicked in, and I was suddenly back in that performing comfort zone, which is never entirely comfortable anyway. One of the interesting things about being back at Cape Rep was that the last project that I did there, Shakespeare in Love, there's this kind of running gag in that script about the playhouses closing.
Yeah.
And and at the time, it really was kind of a joke that we were all playing. But now it feels, oh yeah, this is why they did that.
Yeah.
And it's not just arbitrary. It's not just capricious. It's a measure of life saving.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I loved your performance for the benefit.
Thank you.
And Mo was telling me that you were doing that again out in the field with a horn section, and
We did.
happen?
It did happen, and Malcolm Granger, who so brilliantly was basically the musical director. He plays the keys and many instruments, and ended up arranging. It's a tune from Sharon Jones and the Dap Kings, "Matter of
Right.
Time." Again, a choice that I felt artistically, what did I want to say as an artist right now? And those lyrics are just right where I'm at. But Malcolm and I had this dream of making it this big sound that the original really is. So he got a 6-piece band, saxophone, trumpet, bass guitar, lead guitar, drums. The bass player also played the trombone at a point. And I had 3 backup singers, Anthony Texera and Kate Pizakis and Hannah Carita.
Uh-huh.
We did it right in front of the barn. And we had the beautiful design that Ryan McGettigan did in the theater. We had these kind of strips of fabric pulled from the barn, and Susan worked her lighting magic. And that was, for sure, has been a major highlight as of late, because it was at night, and it was just this big, beautiful sound. And we really were so meticulous about placement, especially of the horn players and the singers. So I'm excited for actually people to see that version of it, and that it actually happened is is kind of, it was fantastic. And Malcolm really, he was incredible in orchestrating all of it. So
Yeah, I can't wait to see it. What fun. It's a
yeah.
great song and you really just kill it too.
Oh,
So
thank you. I
yeah,
appreciate that. She was a wonderful artist. She
she
really,
was indeed.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Another one gone too soon.
I know, really. My goodness.
Yeah.
Well, this was great, Stephen. Thank you so much. I know it was sort of fast, but you were fabulous. Thank you for chatting with me.
My
Appreciate it.
pleasure, Trish. Thank you. And thanks to everybody at Cape Rep for getting this all together. I'm looking forward to seeing it.